the questions.
Thank you. And thank you, Vice Admiral Salerno, for being here. It's great to have you here. I come from the coastal state of Massachusetts, and like many of the Gulf states, which were so deeply impacted by the BP oil spill, the health of our ocean, the Atlantic, directly impacts the health of many communities in Massachusetts, as well as the other New England coastal states. And we depend on the ocean and coastal areas for shipping, for commercial fishing and tourism, as well as for alternative energy development. In fact, Massachusetts is home to the most profitable port in the nation, New Bedford, Massachusetts, which brings in over $400 million a year in commercial fishery landings. The New England region as a whole brings in over $1.1 billion in commercial landings annually, which obviously has a ripple effect on our entire regional community. As you know, the Department of Interior recently issued the draft 5-year Outer Continental Shelf oil and gas leasing program, which included a proposed lease sale in the Atlantic Ocean. The BP oil spill underscores the real risks associated with offshore drilling. And despite testimony today, I remain concerned that safety reforms are insufficient. I strongly oppose this proposed lease sale and hope it will be removed from the final plan. In your written testimony about agency reforms, you said that Bessie approaches safety on the Outer Continental Shelf by assessing and managing risk. You also said that the Bureau works with scientific organizations and industry to identify and quantify operational risks. We have not had drilling off the coast of the Atlantic in decades, and the most recent wells were abandoned because they were not commercially viable. So my question is, as you're relooking at the way in which you do work, given the risks that we know are real, has Bessie ever conducted any assessments of drilling safety off the coast of the Atlantic?
We have not looked specifically at the Atlantic. We look at drilling activity in and of itself. The nature of drilling, the technology that is used in drilling, the environment where drilling takes place, particularly, for example, in the Arctic, where we need special conditions. But we focus on the technology, the techniques, the practices that are used by the industry, and everything that goes into preventing mishaps and accidents on the Outer Continental Shelf. But it's not necessarily geographically specific for the Atlantic.
So are you basically depending upon industry assessments?
No, we are not. We're focusing on our own assessments of industry practices and the technology that's being used in place. We really focus on the design of the well, making sure that there is proper integrity there, there's proper barriers in place so that anything that conceivably could happen has a safety barrier or multiple safety barriers. That's how we approach the management of risk.
Well, should the Atlantic lease sales be included in the final 5-year plan, what do you expect to be the biggest safety concerns?
We'll certainly take a close look at any unique characteristics, but a lot of it will be depending on the geology, what we anticipate in the geological formations, what risks they impose, the temperatures, the pressures, and certainly any operating conditions regarding mid-ocean data, anything that might affect activity on the surface.
And do you imagine that the precautions in the Atlantic would be different from those that are in the Gulf or wherever else you may be considering lease sales?
Potentially. I think it'll be a result of all of the factors I just mentioned.
Well, as I said, I remain very opposed to having the Atlantic included in this proposed lease sales, and I do hope that it will be taken off the list. Thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you. Now turn to